form. So let's create a form that displays a user's name, a user's gender, and we'll submit the form. Again, there is a need to nest your HTML code, or let me say your code in general. It makes your code readable and neat. Okay, yeah, so we have a label for our first name. So let's say we can name it anything, basically, but we need to make sure that it is uniform. Okay, this is a label for first name, and then we close our label tag. Then the line break, which takes it to the next line, so we don't have everything on a single line. Then we have our input field. This is where you input your name, and there are different types of inputs, so you could check that up on Google. So the input type for name here will be text, because whatever you are inputting into the field is a text. So that's basically why. Then the ID, yes, this was taught in the Slack channel, that it's a unique identifier for an attribute for a name or for anything. It's, I mean, just like every other human being, we have something unique to us. So the same thing for an ID here. It's unique to just a particular element or an attribute. Okay, so we're going to name our first name ID as fname. So wherever we need to reference it, we'll always use fname, or anything we put in the ID. The input tag is also a self-closing tag, so you don't need to. Okay, I will just copy this for this second or last name too. Okay, so we name this L name, last name, L name, last name. Okay, just ignore the background noise. Okay, so we already created our first and last name. So here we would create a gender. We'll create a radio button to identify what gender a person is, either a male or a female. So our input type here will be radio. This enables you to select an option. And then our name, we have gender, value, we have a male, and then our break, label, it's supposed to be inside the label tag. For male, we have a label for male, and then create an input type for it. Input type. Okay, so we already create one for male, then we do the same for female. Input type radio, then ID will be F male, that is female. Name will also be gender, and our value will be F male, that's female. Put a line break here too. Then we do label for the same. Female. Okay, so we would create an input type to submit our form. Just like I mentioned earlier, that there are different types, so there are various input types depending on the kind of input. If you need to input text or checklist or characters or submit, you can just look them up online. You will see the various type and when to use them. So we have input type submit here. Value would also be submit. Okay. So now let's open our browser to see our form on the web page. Okay, so I saved my index.html file in my documents folder, in a folder called HTML practice. So I'll right click excuse me. So I'll right click on the file and then use any web browser to open it, but I prefer Google Chrome. Alright, so here is our form down here. It is down here because we did not specify where we want our form to be. So that is where we bring CSS in. So if you want it to be at the center of our page, or you want it to be at the right part or down part, so wherever we want it to be, you specify it when we use our CSS. Okay, so let's try and fill this form. First name Eniola, second name Agbola, and then I am a female, or you could be a male. Then if you click on submit, you see that our form returns back to the same page. That's because we did not give it a specific action to take when we click on submit. So this brings us back to our code. So in our form tag, we have an attribute called action. This is what specifies where we want our form to be submitted to. So let's say we have a page, in a PHP page called action page .php. Okay, so let me write. Alright, so the action page attribute specifies where the form will submit to. Okay, so that means since we have a page called action page.php, we have to create a PHP file. So we have to create a PHP file called action page.php. Save it. So in this action page.php is where we write some codes to specify what happens when we click on submit on the HTML form. Okay, so let's go back to our web page to see what happens when we click on the submit button rather. So we refresh and then fill the form, email, submit. You see that it takes us to a blank page. That's because our action.php page is blank. We have no code written on it, or we have we didn't send it any message. You understand? So basically that's just it on creating forms. This is just the basics on creating forms. So if you practice this, you'll get better at it. If you would like more information on how to create form, you could use W3 School. You could use W3 School for more information on how to create forms. Okay.